Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Behind the Barricade. Today, we are recording on a Friday night, so we have a couple brewskis with us, and we need them after this week of wrestling. Excuse me. This week was shitty to say none the least. I'm Cam, and here's my co-host Sudds. Sudds, what did you think of this week?
This week was bad.
Yeah, we had a UK themed week in the WWE. Both Raw and Smackdown were taped in London, pre-taped from the O2 Arena. And let's just get right into our Raw review. So Raw started off with Dean Ambrose and The Miz in the middle of the ring, both telling us that they're in charge of Raw. Dean was put in charge of Raw by Kurt Angle, and The Miz was put in charge by Stephanie McMahon. So this should make for an interesting Raw.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of interesting how they were put in charge, but it was pretty good. It was a good start. It's kind of all downhill from there, but So we had Braun Strowman come out with a sling on his left arm, just saying that he wants Roman, and once he's finished with Roman, he wants Brock Lesnar. So it looks like that's probably not going to happen, at least for a while. And then once Braun said that, Kalisto was kind of an idiot, came out and said that he wants to rematch with Braun Strowman, even though he technically won the last match. So that was kind of weird. And Dean said the match is on.
Yeah, no, Kalisto was being a full idiot here. Not sort of. He was a full idiot for doing this. I don't know why Braun still wants Roman. They both killed each other at the last pay-per-view. But, I guess if they're going to have another match, I'll enjoy watching it. But I don't see why Braun still wants Roman. He should just be focusing on Brock.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. They've killed each other multiple times. Just move on.
Yeah, so then Dean Ambrose puts his co-GM for the night, The Miz, in a match with Finn Balor. This was a pretty good match, but The Miz tells the ref that Finn did an illegal move, so he should disqualify Finn, so the ref did that. But Dean Ambrose comes out, restarts the match, and bans Maurice from ringside. Then Finn quickly picks up the victory. It's good to see Finn getting some wins to hopefully get a shot at the Universal title.
Yeah, nice for Finn to get the win, and Dean was a very good general manager, actually throwing Maurice out from ringside or banning her from ringside, so that was definitely a smart move.
Yeah, she needs to be out of there.
She always needs to be out of there. So
I like looking at her.
Oh, yeah, but she kind of helps Miz cheat, and they were very good at it, so yeah. So we had this Nia Jax with Alexa Bliss, and Nia says she wants a title shot.
So you can deny her that.
Yeah, Alexa wasn't going to deny that, and it turns out Nia and Alexa are now best friends.
Yeah, until Nia gets that title shot.
Which I hope does not happen, because Nia is massive, and Alexa is tiny.
Yeah, Nia's also garbage, like you like to say.
This is true.
So then we saw Alexa in a match versus Mickie James, her former friend, and Nia was in Alexa's corner. So to make things even, Bayley came out and was in Mickie James's corner. One thing that stood out to me during this match was the London crowd, as always when Bayley's involved, saying, "Bayley, will you be my girl?" I love it. I love every time they do that. She didn't really respond much to it because she was trying to focus on Mickie James and make the segment about the match, but I enjoyed that. But Alexa got the win over Mickie James, and then Nia came into the ring and just absolutely demolished Mickie at the end of the match.
Yeah, I always love the Bayley thing as well. It's always really cool. So that was the end of that, and then we had Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe just have a fight backstage, and that led into a match later in the night.
Yeah, just prolonging their storyline, which I like because these two are two of the greatest workers in the business, and I think they'll have a good match at the next Raw pay-per-view, which is Extreme Rules, I believe. So then, excuse me, we had the match that was made earlier, Kalisto versus Braun. who had one arm not tied behind his back, but he had his arm in a sling. And before this match even got started, Braun cheap shot at Kalisto. Then Roman Reigns came out, and these two just got it on again and fought and prolonged their long rivalry.
Yeah, and it looks like they're gonna be done for a little while just because of Braun being injured. But it'll be nice. It'll be nice to kind of have a break between them. But once Braun's back healthy, I think they're just gonna go back to killing each other again.
Yeah, that could definitely see that happen, or Braun getting the title shot.
Yeah, true. So then we had the tag team turmoil, and Cesaro and Sheamus. They were the first team out there, and they beat everybody. It was just really impressive. They dominated. They're off to a great start as them with them both being heel, and they are definitely legitimate contenders to the tag team championships.
Yeah, now that they're heels, I'm even looking forward more to their match with the Hardys, just because they're heels now, and I think they'll put on an even better match. So next we had Samoa Joe versus Seth. This match was okay, but Joe ended up getting disqualified for attacking Seth too much, I guess. So I didn't really like that this match ended this way. It just prolonged their feud. Like we said in the beginning, this week's Raw wasn't that good, and this is just one of the things that I didn't really enjoy.
Yeah, next we had Miz on commentary for Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt. We've seen Dean and Bray fight tons of times in the past.
Both on Raw and SmackDown now.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it was nothing special. And then Miz hits Dean with the IC title, and which leads to Bray Wyatt winning. And then it was announced next week that there will be an Intercontinental title match between Miz and Dean.
I'm looking forward to that. What's your prediction for that match next week?
I think the title will stay where it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Miz will probably get it back, but not right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. And so this Raw was not very good. It was, I would say, it's one of the worst ones in a while.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. It was funny because you said before we started recording. Sorry about that, guys. You went to bed early during this Raw, and I fell asleep watching it. So it shows you just how uninteresting this Raw was.
It was not good. So I'm really looking forward to it being live once again next week.
Yep.
So that was Raw, and then next night we had SmackDown Live, which started out with Randy Orton promo. Then Jinder Mahal and Kevin Owens came out, and then AJ Styles and Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn all came out to kind of, I guess, even up the odds, even up the heel and face part.
Yeah, this was just smelling of a 6-man tag for later on in the night.
And it sure was.
Yeah. So next we had the women's segment, where, again, we kind of had a 6-woman thing going on, 3 heels, 3 baby faces. So we had Charlotte Flair and Naomi in Becky Lynch's corner versus Natty and the rest of the welcoming committee. Natty won this match, unfortunately. As you guys know, I'm a huge Becky Lynch fan, so I don't like seeing her lose. But she lost via distraction from Naomi and the welcoming committee, so that's okay. Yeah, this was a good match. Becky and Natty have had great matches over the past few months, and I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it.
It was a good match, and it was actually announced that Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky are going to face off with the welcoming committee.
At Backlash.
At Backlash, yeah.
Or Becklash, if you will.
Sure. Next, we had the highlight of the show.
Both shows.
Both shows, yeah. We had the Fashion Files London edition with the Fashion Police, and oh my god, this was hilarious. There's just so, like, it was so good. There was so much going on, and they caught the Ascension in locker or in a closet
with some chains and shit. I don't know what was going on there.
some chains and just hitting each other. They saw paint all over the place. It was super weird, but it was hilarious. And I love what they're doing with the Fashion Police right now.
Yeah, I'm already looking forward to next week's edition of this Fashion Police, Fashion Files segment stuff. So yeah, speaking of weird, we had two former members of the Wyatt family facing off one-on-one. We had Luke Harper losing to Erick Rowan, surprisingly. This was a big shock because Luke Harper's getting a huge push. And Rowan seemed to be talking to his new mask at the end of this match. Kind of like it was giving him advice or like he was actually having a conversation with it. This was just weird. And I kind of can't wait to see where it goes, actually.
Yeah, Erick Rowan's a super weird dude. And I really like Luke Harper, and I wish he would keep picking up the victories, but at least he's in a storyline right now, so it's alright. But yeah, Erick Rowan's mask, like you said, super weird. Erick Rowan's just super weird person. So yeah, Rowan picking up the victory, it kind of sucks, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, you win some, you lose some, right?
Exactly. And so after that, we had more of Dolph and Shinsuke Nakamura. It was just more back and forth, not letting Shinsuke hit anything. So, but I will say I am looking forward to these two face off.
This could be the match of the night at Backlash.
Yeah, like Shinsuke is one of the top wrestlers in the world, and Dolph is really good, and he's really good at selling as well. So I think it's gonna be a solid match.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, then we had another funny backstage segment involving Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. I just love this version of Sami Zayn. I'm just like, come on, guys, we can do it. Let's put our hands together. And then he turns around and they aren't there, just because Sami Zayn, his character on TV is a lot like his personality. He tends to overthink things. He gets excited about little stuff. And he just seemed very, very happy to be teamed up with those two, and just, it was awesome. It was hilarious.
All Sami wants are some friends.
I know, right? His friends keep turning on him, and nobody wants to be his friend right now.
Hopefully he gets some friends soon. But next we had Mojo Rawley and a really weird story time with some children and talking about the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial Trophy. It was just weird.
Yeah, one of those kids kicked him.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't hit your elders, children.
Savage child.
Yeah, that's what JBL was saying on Talking Smack. That's a demon child. It was hilarious. So then, moving on, we had Rusev live via webcam saying that he hasn't heard anything from Shane McMahon yet. He still wants a title match at Money in the Bank. And if he doesn't, he's going back to Bulgaria. And we learned that he's going to be on SmackDown Live next week. So we'll see where that heads up. And we'll talk about Rusev and his title shot later on in the show.
I will say I am looking forward to him showing up on SmackDown because he is really good. And I like Rusev, but yeah, like you said, we'll talk about Rusev a little later. So the main event of SmackDown was the 6-man tag with Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn against Jinder Mahal, Baron Corbin, and Kevin Owens. And it was your classic 6-man tag.
Yeah, just prolonging all the feuds and stuff like that.
Yeah, as a way to get 3 separate feuds into one main event and kind of one segment or so.
Yeah, your basic house show main event, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was basically it for SmackDown. Talking Smack was actually bad this week. I'm not saying, bad to the fact that the guests weren't live at the desk with Renee and JBL. They pre-taped interviews with all of them backstage with Dasha. So this was probably the worst Talking Smack ever, and we don't say that much, but Talking Smack was just not good this week. So let's just move on to NXT.
Yeah, so Wednesday night, NXT, another solid episode. This was easily the best show of the week. It's usually up there. So it was a solid show. And to start off, we had Aleister Black, who was very impressive. I don't think he's going to be in NXT much longer.
Really?
Yeah, that's my bold statement for Aleister Black. But So he started off NXT and against Cesar Bonani. It's just the usual impressive Aleister Black match, with him hitting his opponent with a kick and then just meditating in the middle of the ring, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, that's great.
And he wins in pretty short order with the Black Mass once again.
Yeah, like you said, Aleister Black's doing great things right now. And I don't know about him leaving NXT anytime soon. I think he'll be down there for a while. But yeah, I'm enjoying what he's doing right now. So moving on to another person we really enjoy, Ruby Riott. She was in a tattoo shop, basically just saying that she deserves the NXT Women's Championship, which she does deserve a shot at it, and she's getting one. And I can definitely see why she deserves the chance at being the next NXT Women's Champion. Next, we got Nikki Cross, just being her psychotic self, slapping the mic away several times from the interviewer, then ultimately just taking over the interview and asking where Ruby and Asuka are before asking where her championship is. So just basic Ruby Riott and also Nikki Cross just being their crazy selves, setting up for this great triple threat.
I really love what Nikki's doing. She is just so psychotic, but in a good way, obviously, and I love what she's doing. She also has she can state her claim to the NXT Women's Championship.
Yeah, both of them do.
So next we had DIY, and they got interrupted by Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli, two former NFL players.
Yeah, I kind of liked that they were tag team together.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli, they state the line to the title start behind them, which is not true.
Not true at all.
So that leads to a match that DIY, they fairly easily won. There's nothing special about it, but DIY picked up the victory. And then we had William Regal come out, and he announces a match at TakeOver between DIY and the Authors of Pain, but it's not an ordinary tag team match. It's a ladder match with the ginormous Authors of Pain and the pretty small DIY.
Yeah, this could be the match of NXT TakeOver Chicago. Don't you agree?
I totally agree with that one.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. After this, we had Mr. Ono in backstage getting interviewed, and then he was interrupted by the partying Andrade Cien Almas, sorry. My Spanish isn't that well. Just basically setting up their match for next week. So I think Ono will win this match next week.
He's got to.
Yeah, this hard partying Almas thing is not going to work out for him.
No, not at all.
So then we had the main event, and one of the best matches in NXT history, in my opinion, where Roderick Strong was going up against Hideo Itami for the right to be the number one contender for Bobby Roode's NXT Championship. This was amazing back and forth here. Not much I could say other than that this was amazingly awesome. Then at the end of the match, ultimately Hideo hit the GTS on Strong, and Hideo Itami's your number one contender. And I love that at the end of the match they showed respect for one another. And I'm sorry, this was just an amazing match. I loved it. And it's oddly enough that Hideo Itami's going to be going into Chicago, and his finisher's the GTS.
Yeah, Hideo Itami is the inventor of the GTS, so going into Chicago, it'll be interesting to see how the crowd reacts with that one.
I think he'll get booed.
I think he's got to get booed, because even though he is the inventor, everybody knows, like, it's CM Punk's.
Yeah, and especially in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. So that was NXT.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, time for the main event of the show. Not the last part of the show, but it's going to be my favorite part. Just going to sit back here, crack open a beer.
Well, here is my TNA review, and I will just say this was terrible, and I hope I never have to watch it again. So the first match is an X Division match, which I've heard is supposed to be really good. This was not. But this match included the very high-flying and familiar-looking Matt Sydal, some dude wearing a choker, and two randoms who I'm pretty sure weren't even named. So that was the first match, and it really got me into the show.
We can tell.
Next, we had EC3 dressed up as a cowboy, kind of mocking James Storm, and he has the worst fucking accent. This was all terrible. And then we had Laurel Van Ness, who's psychotic and not in an awesome Nikki Cross way, but in an unwatchable way. And she has Congo Kong at ringside, which is a clear dumb knockoff of King Kong and the blonde chick. So that was that. Then there was LAX hosting a funeral for Decay. This was dumb, and it was just generic non-American team versus American team because veterans of war showed up, and I'm pretty sure they only have one veteran of war, but whatever. Then it was Moose in the very fucking stupid Grand Championship garbage. It's 3 rounds, but there's pinfalls, so he won in the second round. It was just weird and dumb. Then there was Alicia Edwards, which is not how you pronounce that name, versus Angelina Love. This was bad. It was really bad. And I think it was Angelina Love, who is married to like Eddie Edwards or whatever, and he calls himself the Lone Wolf. But first of all, he comes out with his wife, so that makes no sense. And second of all, Baron Corbin has had that nickname for quite a while, and it's stupid for Eddie Edwards to have that. So that was that garbage. And the main event was the wrestler who I hate the most, always have, always will. It was Alberto El Patron and Magnus, who's Mickie James' wife. Or husband, sorry. Whatever, doesn't matter, not important. And it was apparently good, according to people. I did not think so. And someone who thought it was good was Josh Matthews, who is absolutely irritating on commentary. He said it was an instant classic and the best match in TNA in a while.
Which is probably true.
It might be true, but I thought it was fucking terrible. So that's the end of my TNA review, Impact review, whatever the hell you want to call it. Don't care. So this felt like a poorly done parody, and I hope I never have to watch it again.
Unfortunately, you are going to have to watch it again.
Probably, and it is going to fucking suck.
Yep. Got to get your predictions right there, buddy. Moving on to the news. Congratulations to Daniel Bryan and his wife Brie on their new baby girl, Birdie.
Yeah, congratulations to them. She was a little late, but they had her with no problems. So then we found out that Braun Strowman needs surgery. He will be out 4 to 8 weeks, so that kind of sucks, but we'll get some fresh storylines, hopefully.
Moving on to brighter news, Jim Ross is going to be commentating the new UK show on the WWE Network, and he will be hosting this with Nigel McGuinness. I don't think you could have a better pairing for this show.
Yeah, those two are perfect for that show. So our final bit of news here is Daniel Bryan said when his WWE contract is up in a year and a half, he will wrestle again.
All right, then moving on to one of our favorite segments called 5 Count. I'll start it off this week. Live shows from the United Kingdom are absolutely terrible, and they suck. They don't do anything to build the storylines. They just prolong them or keep them stagnant. They should really look into just doing house shows from the United Kingdom and not doing Raw and SmackDown.
The next thing I got here, which is probably kind of obvious from my Impact review, TNA review, don't care, doesn't matter. Why do people watch TNA? It is garbage, and I'm pretty sure this was a better episode.
Yeah, just let's get the TNA talk out of here. Next is do not give Rusev a title shot, Shane. SmackDown, you earn things. He has not earned a title shot. I know he's holding you hostage by saying if he doesn't have a title shot by Money in the Bank, he will go back to his home country. In my opinion, let him. Stop holding the show hostage, Rusev. I'd love to see you earn a title shot, but you have to earn one before you get one, buddy.
Yeah, and speaking of earning title shots, I think we need more tournaments, specifically number one contender tournaments. I think it's cool. It showcases everybody. You know, like for the Universal Championship, Brock's not really around much, so I think a tournament for that would be pretty cool. And you know, we've seen tag team tournaments and all that, so I think we need more number one contender tournaments.
Yeah, we have the women's tournament coming up, which will possibly be for one of the Raw or SmackDown women's titles. Moving on to our last topic for 5 count. How long until Lana debuts? Like, honestly, do you think she's ever going to debut?
No, I really don't.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot like Emma, isn't it?
I think so, and like it's going to be forever if she even does debut.
Please debut soon, Lana. We miss you. I love seeing you on TV. So that's it for 5 count. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Moving on to the match of the week. From last week, Sudds had us watching the 2001 Vengeance pay-per-view. More importantly, the Chris Jericho vs. Stone Cold match, which was for the first ever Undisputed Championship. The match started with Jericho just finishing beating The Rock. Austin came right down to the ring and kicked the crap out of him. But Kurt Angle, who was part of the Undisputed Championship tournament for the pay-per-view, hit Austin with a steel chair, knocking him out. The Rock returned the favor to Chris Jericho by beating the crap out of him. Then the bell rang, so now the match has officially started. During this match, we saw Austin give Jericho a spear, which I found was kind of weird. He doesn't spear people, and it looked a lot like Goldberg when he did it. They fought on the outside for a while, which I thought was great. The senior referee, Earl Hebner, took a nice little bump, so he was out. Then Jericho hit Austin with the Stone Cold Stunner. Vince McMahon ended up bringing out the crooked referee that worked for him, Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick countered the 1-2. Austin kicked out. Ric Flair came down, who was the co-chairman at the time. Knocked out Nick Patrick. Then Vince knocked Rick out. Then Austin came out of the ring and knocked Vince out. There's just a clusterfuck going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Then finally, Steve Austin put Jericho in the walls of Jericho, and we saw Jericho tap out. But there's no ref in the ring, so it didn't count. Then Booker T came out of nowhere, hit Austin in the back of the head with the title. At this time, Booker T was not officially announced as signed with the WWE. He was still a former WCW guy. So then Vince put Earl Hebner back in the ring. Jericho covered Austin, who was knocked out because Booker T hit him with the title, and counted the 1-2-3. Chris Jericho was the first ever Undisputed Champion. And like he likes to mention every now and again that he beat The Rock and Austin in the same night, and this was the pay-per-view where it happened. So yeah, that was the match of the week. Good pick, Sudds. As always, you're batting 1,000 right now. What's your pick for this week?
Well, my pick for this week, so it's in honor of the 15-year anniversary of his debut and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 coming out. So this one is Batista against Triple H from WrestleMania 2001, and that was in the year 2005.
This is the same pay-per-view where John Cena won his first title, WWE Championship.
Which does not matter for the hashtag BTB match of the week.
Yes, please use that hashtag when letting us know what you think of the match, and I will recap the match next week on the show.
So our next segment here, I love it, he loves it, it's What's Got Cam Hot.
All right, so what's got me hot this week is Triple H has just been acknowledged for being recognized as a Boys and Girls Club Hall of Famer for working with underprivileged children and children with physical and mental disabilities, and also children who have life-threatening diseases. This is great. I'm very happy about it. But then I go on the internet, and people are just shitting on him, saying he has a huge ego and he only thinks about himself, and he's doing this for himself. He's not doing this for himself. He's doing it because he's a genuine fucking person and cares about other people. He's one of my all-time favorites, so I do have a bias towards this. But as far as his booking goes, too, the past 3 or 4 WrestleManias that he's been helping with the booking committee, He's not put himself over. He's lost to younger talent that deserves a push, and he has put them over by being a great in-ring worker. As far as this crap of United doesn't care, that's really pisses me off because it reminds me of the tragic time before Connor the Crusher died, when he got to go to the ring, and Triple H got in the ring and took a bump for him. It was awesome. The kid didn't want to hit him. And we see Triple H interacting with fans all the time. He's a genuine nice guy. So I'm tired of people crapping on him. It really pisses me off, and I'm just sick of it. So that's that. Please stop doing it, or don't do it in front of me. I'll always defend Triple H for everything he does. So that's the show for the week. Sorry, I just need to calm down for a sec. If you guys want to give us a follow on Twitter, my Twitter account is at CampernetBTB.
My Twitter account is at SudsBTB.
The show account is at BTB Wrestling Pod.
We have a Facebook page, so if you could drop a like there, that'd be awesome. And it is Behind the Barricade, a wrestling fans podcast.
Hit that subscribe and like button at the bottom of the YouTube page there. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll get you guys next week. Sudds, let's get out of here.
So if you only remember one thing from this week, let that be to never go to the top rope.